This is a selector unit from a 1962 Jaguar S-Type. It's very similar to their units they used in, if not the same unit, they used in several of their cars in the 60s, right up until the Series 1, which stopped using this. I know for a fact it was used in the 420 Compact, 420G, S-Type, I think it was in the Mark 1, and it's probably in other ones. Basically you get vacuum through here, and by pressing in, there's another button just over here. I've taken the thing apart. You can select the scuttle to open, that's the thing that pops up in front of the windscreen, and you can select the servo, which switches the hot water to the heater compartment where the fan is. The servo that switches on and off the hot water to the heater box had in fact failed a long time ago, and it failed so badly that the water had gone through from the servo part of it, from the valve part of it into the servo, down the vacuum line and into this, and of course then we had a big vacuum leak coming from here, which of course was causing the engine to run a little bit off. So what I've done here, this goes on the back of it, I've filed these lugs off here and here and gently prise the thing apart. I'm going to attempt to repair the vacuum leak that's in here, fix it all up and give it another 50 years of life. Right, this is it in complete bits. I've done this for people who are attempting this somewhere else in the world so they can see how it all goes together. This one here came from the sensor sits in the, the arrangement sits in the car that way round. So this pipe here goes off to your heater, this pipe here goes off to your scuttle, and this last pipe on the right hand side is your vacuum from the engine. So if you turn it over, that one there is your heater, that one there is your scuttle, and that one there is the reset button. As you can see here, the heater servo, as I said, has leaked water through into here and corroded everything. Now, things to note when you're taking one of these apart from everything pinging apart, these switches are laid out in the correct order from as if they were in the car. So there's your reset button, that's your scuttle, and that's your heater. Please note this washer here. This little pin here goes through this little part here, then you put the washer on it, then you slip this part here over it so it becomes a hinge. So it goes that, so if everything pings apart, that's what it is. That goes through that first, then you put the washer on it, then you put this other part on. The other thing to notice on this, which might not be straightforward, is obviously this bracket here goes onto that side and this little bracket here goes onto that side. But the other thing I was going to point out here is these springs here, they have the ridge slightly more towards the switch side of it, so the longer bit here goes towards the back of the unit, this shorter bit here goes towards the switch side, which is here, and these little triangular wedges which slide up and down and let the air in and out through the holes, the wedge side goes towards the switch, so it's as it is there. So the wedge side towards the switch side here. As you can see with this one, I don't know if I can get in with this camera, the water's got in there and it's blocked everything up. It's made a right mess of it all. These little rubber suckers here, I don't know how good they are. They've still got a bit of rubberness in them. I think we might be able to save it all. So I'm going to have a go at cleaning this up and I'll get back to you. Okay, well, I cleaned this up using some coarse wire wool, a bit of WD-40, and then I finished it off with several grades of wet and dry. Don't have to be too pedantic about what, as long as you get a nice clean finish, and you don't want to put score lines in it. Those score lines that you can see there are actually factory. They go into the areas I didn't clean. But as you can see, there's quite a bit of pitting there. I cleaned the pipes out using my favourite carburetor cleaner, and one of these which you can pick up at tobacconists if they still exist anywhere, which is a pipe cleaner. But this is a special kind of pipe cleaner. It's actually got little bits of plastic woven into it, which is designed to scour the inside of your pipe to get all that tar and nicotine out. But they're very useful in the workshop for cleaning out things like tubes. The little rubber things that slide in and out I've cleaned them up, but they seem to be pretty scored. So what I'm going to do is, using soapy water and a bit of 1200 wet and dry, is just ever so gently on a dead flat surface, just gently level it, maybe 5 or 6 passes on there. But as you can see, how this thing is designed to work is very simple. There's a little cutout in the bottom of this rubber thing. When it's in the off position, it goes that way around. When it's in the off position, it blocks off one of the pipes. When it's in the on position, it joins the 2 pipes together through that little thing there. Very simple. Alright, I'll clean those up and start putting it back together. Right, all cleaned up and back together. Just for anyone who's trying to do this themselves, a tip: put this assembly in first and then put this assembly in, because you've got to get this little arch thing here over the top of this bar, and if you put this in first, that's near on impossible without everything pinging out. I've replaced one spring in here. The other one seemed to have lost its sprung, and also it seemed to be quite rusty on the inside. This is the one that copped the worst of the corrosion, and I was concerned that it could in the future snap. We don't want to do that. I won't attempt to push the buttons in and out now, because everything will just ping out while I'm holding the camera. It's a two-hand operation to test it, but now I've got to work out a way of putting the cover back on, which originally was press riveted in through these two and these two here. So we'll see what we're going to do about that in a minute. Right, it's all back together now. What I'm going to do, clean these edges up here and here, which is where the original riveting used to go. I'll clamp that in the vise to tighten it up and close that gap. I might actually clean up those burrs a bit too. I'm going to use some JB Weld. I've cleaned this up thoroughly. As you can see, I've filed that and filed that, and I've also cleaned it up with Carby Cleaner. And I'm going to try the JB Weld, clamp it in a vise, hold it tight, leave some JB Weld on it for a few days, and that should hold it together. Just wanted to clarify a couple of things. When you're putting the cover on, that nipple there on the cover goes to the back. And the other thing too, I might have said in the video what these pipes do, and I might have just confused everybody. This is the vacuum pipe, not this one. This is the vacuum pipe. Vacuum comes from here and it sucks to these 2 chambers. When you push the switches in, that will engage that one, or that will engage that one. This might help some people who've pulled one of these out and don't know which way around to connect the pipes. So basically, that will suck when that button's pressed in, that will suck when that button's pressed in, and the vacuum goes to there. That's just a reset button which lifts a lever in there which ejects those 2 buttons. Okay, let's have a go at gluing this together. Well, it's been 24 hours. It's been glued and clamped in the vise. I glued it using the JB Weld. Make sure you thoroughly clean up the 2 surfaces that are going to be bonded. They suggest you use acetone. I sanded it lightly, cleaned it thoroughly, and then cleaned it with acetone and let it dry. That's held it together. I've put it under vacuum. It's holding a good vacuum. That unit is now fully working. I hope this video has been of some help to some people. Good luck if you're trying it yourself.